Gallacher.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President, and I rise to make a contribution in this debate. And I think it'd be fair to say at the outset, Mr Acting Deputy President, that there isn't a senator in this chamber or elected to this chamber who isn't fully supportive of the Australian Defence Forces and the contribution that they make and have made over an extremely long period of time. And I think it's unfortunate that they found themselves in this situation where they were let down, if not a more serious word, by this government. And I just want to pick up on a couple of points that Senator Reynolds made in the contribution. And the first point was repairing the budget. Well, there are ways of repairing the budget, and I want to give you one very, very specific example. The Public Works Committee, charged with examining defence expenditure, had a proposal put to it to build 50 houses at the RAF base Tyndall. The bespoke, architecturally designed houses were to cost $89.4 million. The committee found that that was not value for money. And after a number of hearings and a number of examinations of the situation that was put to it, another model was put up to build 50 houses, 50 tropical design dwellings using the Defence Housing Association business as usual design and construct delivery model at a cost of $47.15 million. Now, if you're serious about repairing a budget, and if you're serious about examining defence expenditure, and you can find an instance on the public record, subject to public hearings, where $40-odd million was saved in one project, it gives you an understanding of how deeply and widely felt the antagonism towards the government's decision clearly is. Because we see these projects, ad hoc. Defence is a large part of the expenditure that goes through the Public Works Committee. We test it for value for money in the public interest and fit for purpose. But if we can put up an example of where $40 million was proposed to be spent and a business-as-usual model delivered a $40 million saving, how do the people in Defence feel when they can't get a modest increase, when clearly there are savings to be made and not insignificant savings? So, whilst repairing the budget is the goal of all governments, at what cost? I mean, should it be at the cost of the people who put their limb and life on the line every day in the service of this country? I think not. And I think actually there is bipartisan support for that. I really do. I think that there is as many people in the coalition ranks who think that this is grossly unfair. I think their numbers are quite significant, and there are a number who've gone on the public records to say that. So the simple facts are they shouldn't be in this position. This is a fight that they shouldn't have had to have. And, if you take the Prime Minister's comment that no one in the public sector will be paid a higher rate of increase than our Defence Forces. Now, that's factually incorrect. It's factually incorrect. If we look at the outcomes at the CIO, if you look at the relevant agreements, the CSIRO will receive 2.8% per year for the next 3 years. Air Services Australia will receive a 5.1% pay rise over the next 15 months up to July 2015. Future Fund employees have been reported to be receiving a 3% annual pay increase. So is it any wonder that our serving men and women are feeling let down? Is it any wonder at all that the various stakeholders who support those men and women in the Defence Force are agitating for a better deal? No wonder at all. It is really the consequence of the bravado of this government after gaining a significant electoral victory. They said, the next thing we're going to do is chop. Well, there are some places you don't chop. And in my view, Australian Defence Force personnel are entitled to a respectable, ongoing increase in their wages and conditions, commensurate with the level of commitment that they give to this country, without having to agitate in the way they've been forced to do this time. And if the government's serious about budget repair, I suggest it have a very close look at some of the procurement contracts, some of the expenditure that is ongoing in our Defence Force as we speak, rather than taking out of the pockets of those hard-working men and women of our Australian Defence Forces.